Okay, right now I'm in the process of putting perfling on this guitar, and I'm just trying to get it started off. So I've cut a binding channel using the Dremel tool with the router bit. So I've cut a binding channel already that'll go around here. But I've just cut another channel now, smaller, into the binding channel, so the perfling can go in, and then the binding will cover that. And I'm gonna, it'll glue around like this. And you know how it goes. Perfling, binding on the outside, and there's a black perfling between the binding and the wood, right? So I'm trying to get the binding started. So I've put it together here at the center line. I've got some glue, got it taped, and I'm just waiting for the glue to stick. And then I will put the binding in and do the binding and the perfling all at the same time. You can do it with crazy glue, but I find crazy glue, or I understand crazy glue stains the wood, so I'm going to try and glue the perfling, so a little bit of glue in the perfling channel, and then I'll use acetone on the binding to stick that. There's probably an easier way to do it, just haven't discovered it yet, so this is how I'm going to do it. So right now, I'm just waiting for this glue to take. I'll just give it a few minutes, 15-20 minutes, and then I'll put the binding there and start cutting around with the glue and end it up here. And this is the Dremel. This is the little tool that I use to cut the perfling channel. So you can see that the bit's just in here. It's just the depth of the perfling. And here's the bearing that rides on the side of the guitar to get the right depth for the perfling, so that the binding sits flush, straight up and down, right? And we're carrying on around the. So I've got it started here. So this seems to be going pretty good. It's a little bit slow, but just putting some glue on under the perfling. And then once I get the perfling down on the glue, I use acetone on the, yep, there we go. So just some glue in the channel there for the perfling. Not to put too much. Like that. Put the perfling down. Into the glue. And then the binding goes on with acetone. Tape, one piece of tape there. I'll put some acetone on here. You need 3 hands, it seems. Anyway, manage it. Like that. That's the acetone, put the binding down on the acetone. So glue and acetone. And then of course I don't have enough tape taken off, but I'll put one on here and then I'll do the other ones after. Okay. Get off some binding tape here now, get that. It's easy to do because of the way it's shaped. This is a little more difficult down here, I'm sure. Okay, so the main thing here is to pull the binding down to the side, right? So you get no gap, and then pull it this way. And that closes up any gaps. If there are any gaps after you take the tape off, you can easily deal with them. Just fill them with some dust. Or you can also make up paste out of little pieces of binding. You mix binding and acetone. That makes a paste, and you drop that in the little gaps, and it's called goop, because it's like goop. You put it down in the cracks, and it fills the little cracks. There you go. So I'll just carry on around and You get the idea, right? Yeah, I got one side done here. This side's all done right around to here. And I'll just come around this side. That's going pretty good actually. It's just a matter of getting used to it. Gotta use two different glue systems, but you know, you can manage it once you get it kind of going. And at least with this perfling, you don't have to, with these curves, you don't have to steam it and bend it. It seems to be fine. You can get it into shape, so one less thing to have to worry about. So we'll carry on around here now with the glue, and then once we let it dry, we'll take the tape off and scrape it, right? And it should be pretty good. There we go, it's all finished. And you can see right here how it's going to kind of be, what it's going to look like. Find a spot here. You know, binding, perfling. So once that's scraped down and sanded, it'll look very nice. So all bound around, and just leave that for a little while, let it set, and then do the rest of it later on. Okay. And I've just removed all the tape, and we've got and I scraped it as well. So I have a little scraper here, just a little scraper that I just went around the edge, and I scraped the binding and the perfling and everything down flush, right? Just like that. Anyway, I've already done it, and I've sanded it. And I've got a little more sanding to do on it, but there's the perfling. I can get you to have a look, so you can see the binding and the perfling there. Turned out pretty nice, actually. Yeah. So that is most of the woodworking done on this guitar. All I got to do now is sand it. I've got some more scraping to do on it, you know, to get everything, put a nice, you know, smooth finish on it. And the only other major woodworking I've got to do is cut the dovetail. So this is the exciting part, right? So we'll get at that next. But the dovetail has to be cut in here, so I'm going to cut a notch into the neck block, and I'm going to cut a complementary one in the neck, so the neck can go in, fit in, and then we've got to finesse the surfaces in the dovetail so that the neck sinks in and it goes straight and down flush, and we've got to get the right neck angle. So I've also got to cut the heels so that, you know, the angle is the same as this angle here, which I think is maybe 91 degrees, something like that. So I'll measure that after anyway. That's the next job. But the perfling is in, looks real nice, and top looks beautiful. Got a few defects here in the sides, but that's because, again, this was a flat sound piece of wood, so I don't know if there's going to be much I can do with that. I'll do the best I can to get those out. But in general, you know, came out pretty darn good. Yeah. A few more little defects here. Yeah. I got some scraping to do on the wood here. The wood's a little higher than binding, so I had to scrape the wood around here to get that flush. But all good. So next I would think would be the dovetail. Right in there. Okay. And once again, just for fun, I've given this a wash down with some mineral spirits, just to enhance the grain in the wood. That'll be kind of what it'll look like actually when it's got a finish. The top on this one I think is going to be red, some tone of red, make this guitar interesting. But here's the sapele, natural, and the back stripe, which unfortunately is off center by 1/16 of an inch because I cut on the wrong side of the bit. Anyway, not really that noticeable, but now that I pointed it out to you, you can see it. However, it's the way it goes. But overall, you know, it's a very nice body. It's coming along well so far. So the dovetail is going to go right in here. And if I get up the courage, I might try that later on this evening. The dovetail is something that, you know, you got to commit yourself to actually, you know, concentrating on it. Being very careful. Take your time. You don't want to screw it up after finishing the body like that, right? Now you got to go take a saw and cut into it. I mean, you got to kind of be up for it, you know? Anyway, there it is. Overall, quite nice.